Loaded immediately. 4 days, 4 break-ins, dozens of angry chorus singers, and there is nothing more dangerous than an angry choir. That is what's trending.
What's trending? Crime.
Now, the Seattle men's chorus and the women's chorus, I do wonder if they define either of those terms. They told Cairo 7 TV that their offices in Seattle, it's in the First Hill neighborhood, they've been broken into 4 times in the last 4 days. 4 times in 4 days. It started on Sunday, where the front glass door was smashed. It happened right before a concert. Hours later, thieves ended up breaking in and stealing, I don't know why, but they stole signs and marketing materials. Maybe they were trying to get word out that there was a choir performance and they were really passionate about getting people into the seats, but they didn't have the keys to the office. Probably not, but you know. Then on Monday, burglars ended up using a handsaw to break into the building and then steal computer equipment. And then, as if that wasn't enough, the replacement door and another glass door were broken for yet another break-in. You simply cannot make this up.
Every day, seeing that we're attacked, it's that pit in the stomach, and it's really sad.
Of course, it's really sad. That's the executive director, Craig Coogan, speaking with King 5. He doesn't want to deal with this. He doesn't want to have to deal with this kind of garbage every single day, like so many other businesses, but he's forced to because he operates in Seattle, in King County, in Washington State.
It's hard not to feel targeted. We know that there's crime out there, there's vandalism out there.
Yeah. But you see, if you're a business that hasn't been broken into, if you're a car owner who hasn't had a car stolen or broken into, you're all living on borrowed time. Consider yourself lucky. This is Jason Glass Half Full Rants. If you're a business owner, if you own a car, if you own a home, if you own a bike, and you haven't had some kind of criminal act against you, you are lucky. Because it is inevitable. And it's not just that you're going to have one break-in, it's inevitable that you're going to have 2 or maybe 3 or maybe 4. Now, I'm not a fan of any chorus or choirs. I'm not sure the difference between a chorus and a choir. Is there a difference between the two, Producer Brady? Chorus versus choir?
I guarantee you there is somewhere in the singing world, but I don't know off the top of my head.
They're both for children, and so when adults are involved, it does kind of annoy me, but not enough to want to break in, not enough to want to target people like this. I could at least sit back and say, well, they're trying to do good for their community, I guess.
We exist to bring joy and love into the world.
Okay, relax, man.
We have faced protesters in the past. We will not be afraid. We'll continue to make music that makes a difference.
Okay, I mean, you dial back the hero complex a little bit, but he is a victim here. They are all victims. That is an unfortunate reality. When you live in a city and a state that does not care, this is what happens over and over and over again. And it would be one thing if there was at least acknowledgement coming from city, county, or state leaders who are in positions of power, if they stood up and said, look, we hear you. We understand what's going on. We are seeing the news. We're listening to it on the Jason Rant Show, 3 to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday. And if you don't get to listen to it live, you can, of course, get the podcast. We know exactly what is going on. Here's what we're going to do to help. But instead, you either get complete silence or they just lie and gaslight you and say, oh, we don't have a crime crisis. Shut up. If you don't like it, move somewhere else. Crime crisis. Didn't you know things were way worse in the 80s? Yeah, it's 2024. Telling me things were way worse in the 80s doesn't mean anything to me. I was born in 82. Okay? I do know that we're hearing from a whole lot of people, not just in Seattle, but across Washington State, who say, I've lived here all my life, or I've lived here 20 years. I've lived here 15 years, and things have never been this bad. And when you look at the data, that's very clear. We have juvenile crime going through the roof, violent juvenile crime. We have cars being stolen left and right, being driven into pot shops. Another one happened this morning. We have all of these break-ins. Much of it is being fueled by the addiction crisis that is impacting homelessness. I don't know if you guys have realized this, but since the harm reduction advocates on the radical left took over and their 10-year plan to end homelessness, well, we're in year like 15 of the 10-year plan to end homelessness, definitely not ending. It's time to end that plan. But of course, they just lean into the same things that don't work and never will work. And no matter how married you are to the ideology behind harm reduction and all these other strategies, never going to change the reality. Never. And this is happening where it's happening. It's not just Seattle. Portland, look at the crisis there. I've got a story out over at foxnews.com on Friday, specifically on Portland. It's a mess for the same reason it's a mess here in Seattle. And no one in a position of power is willing to acknowledge it, which means nothing will change. But that makes this a political problem. Yeah, you've got the basic problem of having to clean up the mess, put money into the repairs, deal with all that stuff. It's a nightmare. It's a headache, all that. Get it. But this is really a political issue. Political problems caused by politicians means we have political solutions caused by voters who can simply step up and make better decisions, pay a little bit closer attention, so that we don't keep putting in the same people over and over and over again. And for those of you who live in a blue part of Washington State, which is going to probably be the majority of you, or at least you're in a purple district, that means you need to talk to folks who live around you, talk to coworkers who won't report you to HR for talking politics, talk to folks in your family who continue to vote for the same people responsible for these policies, but at the same time will complain to you about what just happened. God, we had another break-in at the store today. I took my kid to the park and we saw a homeless guy using the sandbox as a toilet. My kid thought he was a cat. I went with it because I didn't want to have a serious conversation with my 4-year-old.